If you've watched me long enough, you know that I'm a guy who isn't afraid or ashamed. I don't demur at tooting my own horn. So when this headline ran across my desk, I guess, when I ran across the headline yesterday from the Arizona Central, that grand jury indicts fake electors who falsely certified Donald Trump as 2020 winner in Arizona. I hearkened back to about 8 months ago in August when I did a video talking about the very real threat of another indictment for Donald Trump. Now, this doesn't necessarily name him as an indicted individual, but this is the first step. I'm going to read from this, but first, just as a matter of here's that moment from August, I think 16th of 2023, talking about this very matter. And in the comments, it was just a slew of "you're wrong, you're exaggerating, this isn't going to happen." A lot of naysayers and maybe cynics, let's say. Here was that from August. And it indicated to me that your work is not done, sir. Trump is now facing a 5th indictment, this time in Arizona. I know you're probably saying, I haven't heard about this. This is news to me. Are you being hyperbolic? And the answer is no. So I didn't lose any credibility with that. I did apparently lose a whole bunch of weight because I'm a lot more of a fat guy in that particular clip from August, but that happens. I'll be back there. Don't worry. For those of you who missed that guy, all of that guy, I'll be back there most certainly, but for now, I'm here. Summer weight, I guess. This is a big deal. And this comes on the heels of a Michigan investigation where there's also indictments of some of the people that are closest to Donald Trump related to the election of 2020 and his administration in general. Big names are being dragged in for their involvement in the election interference plot against the government of the United States. Again, here's the headline. Grand jury indicts fake electors who falsely certified Donald Trump as 2020 winner in Arizona. A grand jury has charged 11 Arizona Republicans and seven top aides, to Donald Trump in a scheme to keep Trump in the White House by falsely certifying he won the state in 2020, though voters in the Grand Canyon state narrowly favored Joe Biden. Attorney General Chris Mays, a Democrat, announced on Wednesday the grand jury had issued the 9-count indictment. It alleges the slate of Republicans, sometimes known as fake electors, and the Trump aides engaged in a conspiracy aimed at, quote, preventing the lawful transfer of the presidency of the United States, keeping President Donald J. Trump in office against the will of the Arizona voters, and depriving Arizona voters of their right to vote and have their vote counted, unquote. The names of the 7 Trump allies are redacted from the indictment, meaning they have not yet been served notice on these charges. Now, their names are redacted, but in any indictment, not in any indictment, but oftentimes in an indictment, because of the details that are listed surrounding the names of unindicted co-conspirator or individual number 1 or individual number 2, 4, 6, 8, because of the details contained in the indictment, it's pretty easy to find out who they are. So we know who these people are. Though their names are redacted, as are the specific charges against them, details in the indictment make clear that the architects of Trump's national campaign to steal the election are also facing charges in Arizona. Those individuals appear to include Trump lawyers, Rudy Giuliani and John Eastman. I think they're former lawyers, are they not? Since they are no longer able to practice law in multiple states. Former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, lawyers Jenna Ellis and Christina Bobb, and Trump advisors Boris Epstein and Michael Roman. Now, this is big for a number of different reasons. One, this is huge because at least Jenna Ellis in this case has already turned state witness in Georgia. She's already cooperating with the investigation to get herself a better deal because she was thick as thieves with these people. She was in up to her neck in criminality in attempting to end democracy in America. Now, as far as Rudy Giuliani and John Eastman, they're probably in it for the long haul here. I can't imagine that Rudy Giuliani wants to die in prison for attempting to end democracy in this country. And he's a coward and a disloyal jerk-off, just about like any of these others. So I think there's a good chance. There's some semblance of a chance that he could turn state's witness. John Eastman is already facing consequences. There's less to put on the line for Donald Trump in his case. And Mark Meadows, the missing Mark Meadows, where's he? What's he been doing? These are questions, and this is all going to play out over the course of the next few weeks as this moves from a grand jury portion of the investigation and the criminal justice process to an actual court, and that could also take months. I see very little chance of this reaching a courtroom before the election. Moving on here, Trump himself, according to the document, is unindicted co-conspirator number 1. So they are saying he is a co-conspirator. Conspiracy is a charge that brings along with it like 10 years in a federal case. I don't know what it would carry here in Arizona. But he is an unindicted at this point. It doesn't mean he won't be indicted. It means up to this point, he's an unindicted co-conspirator. What may happen here is that these witnesses, Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Mark Meadows, Jenna Ellis, Christina Bobb, Boris Epstein, Michael Roman, one of them, multiple of them, may flip and cooperate with the investigation, and that would transfer Donald Trump from the unindicted co-conspirator bucket to the indicted co-conspirator bucket. Co-conspirator, by the way, is kind of a misnomer. Conspiracy itself denotes 2 or more people, so you don't need to be there's no way to be a conspirator with yourself. There's no such thing as a one-person conspiracy. The Arizonans now face charges including powerful and influential GOP figures, a former Republican Party of Arizona chairman, a Republican National Committeeman, and executive at Turning Point USA, that's Charlie Kirk's outfit, and its political arm, and 2 sitting state senators, one of whom retains immense political power at the Arizona Capitol. The grand jury's decision could levy criminal consequences for an unprecedented plot to subvert the will of Arizona voters, one that has ruptured faith in elections and fueled election conspiracies that have taken root in the GOP politics in the state. It comes as Mays, the Attorney General again, has promised to aggressively combat election conspiracies, offering a sharp contrast to her predecessor. Mays reflected the gravity of the case in a 5-minute video statement released Wednesday, in which she said, and this is the final paragraph here, quote, "Whatever their reasoning was, the plot to violate the law must be answered for, and I was elected to uphold the law of this state," Mays said. Quote, "The scheme, had it succeeded, would have deprived Arizona voters of their right to have their votes counted for their chosen president. It effectively would have made their right to vote meaningless," which of course was the intent all along. They didn't just want to disenfranchise voters in Arizona. They wanted to disenfranchise, if their plot had been successful, in Michigan, in Arizona, in Georgia, in Pennsylvania, in the myriad states that he lost, claiming that he won. If it had worked in those states, he would have disenfranchised you. He would have taken away your vote. The 71 million plus people who voted for Joe Biden would have been disenfranchised. And that was the plot. That was the intent all along, to end a functional democracy in the United States of America. That was it. Good news that this is moving along. Other states are beginning to take this seriously. This has been a slow road. We've known about this since 2021, the initial days of the year this took place. And here we are now, almost smack in the middle of 2024, and we're just getting around to getting Donald Trump into a courtroom. That's broken, as far as I'm concerned. Slow justice is a diminished form of justice. Eventually we'll get there, great, but we need swift justice, accurate justice. defined justice. What do you think? I would love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, as always, if you're not leaving a comment below. That email address is daily@dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. If you appreciate what I do, if you love me tooting my horn, toot toot, and you want to help support me tooting my horn more, click the join button below this video. For $2 a month, you can become a channel member. And it's a good time. If you want to go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast, same deal. There are multiple tiers, $2 a month. You can help support this work, and I'd appreciate it. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. And maybe I'll have good news for you next time too. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.